Welcome back to the channel. Today I will be making over this pair of nightstands I picked up off of Facebook Marketplace. After removing all of the hardware so I could begin cleaning, I had to first label everything so I knew which drawers belonged to which nightstand. I would not be reusing this hardware, nor did I want to keep it, so I went ahead and just tossed it. I also went ahead and vacuumed out all of the dust before getting some warm water and dish soap to help remove any of the dirt from the previous owners. I always clean afterwards with just water to remove any leftover residue since it can interfere with adhesion if you don't remove it. Don't forget to always clean the bottoms and the back of your pieces as well. I just finished cleaning them, as you guys saw, and now I'm just waiting for them to dry. It's going to take a little while. While I was cleaning, I accidentally knocked off a piece of this like decorative panel that they have running down the middle of each drawer, and I wasn't a fan to begin with, but then I realized I hadn't really looked at these pieces like up close up until I started cleaning them. Now I've noticed that this is actually plastic. It's not any type of wood at all. Some drawer fronts will be part of the drawer, if that makes sense. In this case, this is one of those cases where they've built the drawer boxes and then they've added the fronts to them. So in order to attach them, they've screwed them from the inside, which you never see. But I was thinking the inside of this looks really, really good. It's not solid wood, but it's in really good condition, at least the part that I can see. So I was thinking I will unscrew it and flip it over so I don't have to worry about these panels in the middle and what I can or can't do with them. If that doesn't work for whatever reason, my other alternative or my other option that I was trying to like brainstorm and think of was that I could actually try to remove these middle panels and put something else there in place. We're gonna go ahead with the easier option, which is to try to remove these drawer fronts and turn them around and see what we got. After unsuccessfully removing the drawer fronts, I moved on to the other option, which was to remove the middle decorative panels. I also wanted to update the bottoms of the nightstands by removing the curved edges and just giving them a more modern look with straight lines. I used my speed square to measure and then my jigsaw to cut out the wood I wanted to remove, followed by sanding to make sure it was nice and smooth. I then scuff sanded everything so I could begin the painting process. I wiped off all of the extra dust I created before wood filling some small imperfections and sanding those smooth as well. So we're ready to start priming. I am going to be using the same primer that I used in my latest flip. If you haven't checked out that video, I'll have it linked here for you, also down in the description if you're interested. It is the Kills Restoration formula. It's water-based with oil-based performance. As you guys saw, I removed the decorative ends of the bases on the nightstands because we're trying to modernize these. You guys saw me remove these middle panels that were here. Trying to turn those around was a fail because it looked like the drawer fronts weren't just attached with screws. They might be glued on there as well. I didn't want to risk trying to prop them off and risk damaging the drawer fronts. So I was like, you know what? It might be easier if I just try to find a solution. So I went online trying to find something that was relatively the same thickness as the thickness that I needed for these panels. I ended up finding the Cricut basswood, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But I'm gonna try to use those to fill in this space, but I am going to do a more decorative design if it all goes well. We're ready to start priming. I'm not gonna be spraying today. I'm going to be using just a brush and a roller. I don't feel like doing any of that extra few steps that you have to do in order to be able to spray. In the long run, it cuts down your painting time by that much more, but I just don't feel like doing it. And I haven't painted with a brush in a long time. That's enough to chat. Let's go ahead and start priming because then we have to wait for that to dry before we can do our second coat. And you know how this works. After 2 coats of primer, I began painting. I'm using the color Mink Brown by Melange in their mineral line. They have since discontinued their mineral line, but they do have the same color available in their One formula, which has a built-in primer and top coat. It's described as a warm putty colored taupe brown, but once it's dry, it actually pulls more cool and gray in my opinion. I ended up doing 3 coats to get full coverage with a light sand in between each one. For the middle panels, I scrapped the idea of using the basswood because apparently it is only compatible with the Cricut Maker and not the Explorer like the one that I have. So I ended up getting their veneer, which is much thinner, but I figured it could still work. I taped it all down and switched out the blade before creating the cut. And the design I created using these shapes and placing them in a way that could give me this chevron pattern. Now this actually took quite a bit of time for me to figure out how to use and how to actually create the pattern because I'm not that great with the Cricut machines just because I don't use them as often as other people do. First of all, do not pay any mind to the mess we have back here. We are currently in the middle of transforming this garage into more of a workshop slash gym area. We recently bought a shed, so we're trying to kind of fix everything, get everything that we need to get out of here into that storage shed so that we can just keep it there and then transform this space. I am recording it all, so I will be updating you guys later down the line once we get done with all this other stuff that I've got planned for you. But now, finally, I am over this whole trying to figure out this Cricut thing. Clearly, I don't use my Cricut enough to not know which blade I'm supposed to use, which blade I'm not supposed to use, which blade belongs to the Maker, the Explorer. There's so many different options. But now that I got that all figured out and I have all of my pieces nice and cut, I am ready to start gluing and placing them on my drawer fronts. I think it would have been easier if I just would have scored instead of cutting through, so that way the design is still there, but it'd be one whole piece that I would be gluing as opposed to a million tiny pieces, and give me practically the same results. So I went to the hardware store and I picked up some what's called contact cement. It's like a traditional way of applying veneer, because you apply the contact cement to one side, and then you apply it to the other. And this is supposed to allow you to be able to immediately get that contact so that you don't have it moving and wiggling around. So we'll go ahead and start the process and see how it goes. If it's a fail, we'll go back to the drawing board. This actually ended up working out a lot easier than I thought it was, which I was so happy about because I did not want to let any of the veneer go to waste. You do have to work pretty fast so that your adhesive doesn't completely dry on you, but I'm not sure if it was just because I had so many pieces to work with as opposed to if I just had two. The directions say to allow the adhesive to sit for no longer than 15 minutes for it to become tacky before putting the two pieces together. For some areas, I did have to go back and reapply the cement because it wasn't sticking. After I was done placing all of the pieces, I did go in with my rubber brayer and roll it on the surface to make sure that there was good contact. The great thing about this adhesive versus others or even wood glue is that I didn't have to worry about applying pressure via clamps and having to wait a minimum of 24 hours for the glue to dry. Once I was done and I allowed them to completely dry, I went in with my top coat. I did spray it just because it didn't require any taping off and it was much faster than applying with a sponge or a brush. The inside of the drawers were in good condition, but I wanted to add some additional detail, and since I had enough peel and stick paper from the last slip I used it on, I went ahead and lined all of the drawers. I added new hardware. There was also one drawer guide slide that was broken, so I went ahead and replaced it. Now that I am done, let's remember what these nightstands used to look like and what they look like now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I really love the way they turned out. Thank you so much for watching and continuing to support my channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you like videos like this, you can check out my full playlist of makeovers down in the description. I love y'all, be kind, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.